Hey everybody, Sean Sewell with Engearment.com here. We have a really cool 4-season tent review for you. This is the Fjallraven Abisko Shape 3 tent. So this is a 4-season tent, double walled, meaning the inner tent is suspended from this exoskeleton right here. And it's a traditional Scandinavian style tunnel tent, which is one of our favorite styles of tents because you can set up from the outside, which means your inner tent doesn't get wet, doesn't snow in it, or sand, or any debris. So it's a really cool, really easy to set up design. The setup's very simple. Find some flat area, obviously. Stake out the end right here, and then there's 3 pole sleeves. And each pole sleeve will only receive the color-coded pole, so you can't mess it up. Gray into the gray, red right there, yellow into that one right there. And then it terminates on the other side, so it just dead ends, and then you put it into these nice sturdy plastic cups that grab the pole very nicely. And then you stake out the front, and then you go around and you stake out, and then you would, if you wanted to guide out, if you're more windy conditions, you definitely would guide out. And there's guide points all around the tent on the pole sleeves, and also in the very front and the very back. So at the very least, you need to do the front and back to provide ventilation. There's a vent in the front. You can access it through this sizable, sizable is not the right word, massive vestibule. So you get in this vestibule, you have plenty of area to hang out, play some cards during a storm or such, and definitely store your gear, a lot of gear, probably your gear and somebody else's tent's worth of gear in there. So very big vestibule. And then the body itself, the inner tent, it's 100 centimeters tall, 80 in the rear, and so for reference, I'm 6'1", 200 pounds, fairly sizable, average person size, and this is a 3-person tent. If there's 2 of me in here, I feel a little claustrophobic. That's just me personally. Me and 2 dogs, awesome. So again, 100 centimeters, 80 centimeters, so there's some tapering down. What that benefits is wind resistance. It's a nice profile to keep wind from affecting the tent too much. It's already a very stable tent design with the tunnel tent, and this is not even guide out, so it'll take some abuse. And another part, this is a 4-season tent. This is their lightweight version of the 4-season tent. There's the Keb line and the Abisko line. So the lightweight is 20 denier outer tent with a 3,000 millimeter water column, waterproof. It's a triple silicone impregnated nylon. The inner tent is super light, 15 denier on the inside. The floor is either 30 or 40 denier, so it's very burly. And as you can tell, we have the footprint attached. So the footprint is more robust. It's rated at 10,000 millimeters water resistance. So that's, you know, an accessory you can pick up secondarily. It's not necessary, but it sure makes things nice, especially if you're in muddy conditions, snowy conditions, wet conditions, or what have you, or even sandy, whatever. Just nice to have covered porch, essentially. A nice covering, and then you got your patio there. So it's a cool feature. You don't need it, very nice to have that. So again, simple setup, very lightweight. I wouldn't call it ultralight, but at 6.5 pounds all in, for the tent body, stakes, poles, pole repair kit, and tent repair kit. Shipping weight was 6.5 pounds, so it's pretty close to 6 pounds to get rid of like instructions and some stuff you probably wouldn't need. And speaking of instructions, you could discard those instructions, the paper ones at least, because there's setup instructions on the tent bag. We'll have pics on that in the review below, but literally we'll show you how to set it up. And on top of that, the bag's very, very well thought out. It's got kind of a seal roll top closure, and then the sleeve, or the tent poles have their own sack, of course, and the stake sack, which you can attach to the outside and you compression it down. And a little over 6 pounds for a 4-season double wall tent is pretty awesome. Like, that's like 3-person, 3-season tent weight, but you get a 4-season tent, capable of withstanding big winds and snow loading. Now, a really cool feature, kind of a future-proofing idea they did, is that at the junction, these plastic junctions, there's another hole, and the sleeves will accommodate a second pole. So you can put a second gray, a second red, a second yellow, and increase the strength that way. Very well thought out. So little things like that go a long ways in making this tent a very livable 4-season tent. Now, the next part of the review, I'm actually going to go into the tent. I'm going to show you the vestibule, the vents, and what it looks like for a 6-foot plus person to fit in the tent. So let's go. All right, so there's the vestibule. And we're hoping to get some of that snow here in a little bit, so that's why we brought this tent to test out. And here is the inner tent, suspended right there. So you can see you may lose a few inches or several centimeters here, but the idea is this 15 denier fabric is going to be more breathable and allow moisture to transport out and the condensation not to come back in. So you lose some size, but you gain some ventilation. So the vestibule, again, very large. There's that vent. If it's really bad out, you can zip it up and good to go. And so let's get into the tent. You're gonna laugh as I try and do the camera work on this at the same time. All right, hopefully you notice there's this very sizable bathtub style floor. So that's gonna help keep, debris, snow, mud, splashback from rainstorm. That's always a pain in the rear. So here we go, 6'1" in the tent. So at all times my head touches the ceiling unless I'm totally laying down. So if you're claustrophobic, that might be an issue. I think it's an asset in a lot of ways because it's less volume tent to keep warm with the air. Also allows for more wind resistance on the exterior. So weigh your options here. There are other tents in this line that do have a continuous higher ceiling all the way back. So if this idea of a tent like all the way in is a little too small for you, just size up to the next one in the lineup. And we'll have links on that one as well. So 3-person tent or two snuggle buddies, or in my case, 2 crazy dogs and a hairy guy. Let's get outside. And by the way, I'm the hairy guy. And those are the dogs. Hi, Chloe. And there's Riley. So, exterior of the tent, really streamlined as you can tell. So again, you start the day off by stake, 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 pull, 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 and then you pitch a tent. And so this company, Fjallraven, hopefully I said that somewhat close. Been around since the 60s, very well known outdoor company in the Scandinavian market. They're a Swedish company. So, tried and true, good stuff. We'll have all the further specs, details, weights, and where to purchase this tent on Untitled.com. Hope you found that helpful. Take care.